Hello and welcome to another episode of the Podcast of Terror, Take 2. We had technical difficulties. We almost had the entire episode recorded, and then the shit hit the fan. So here we are, trying it again. This is a production of Galactic Netcasts. I am your host, as always, Matt Stein. With me as always, I'm just toast ready. Corey, something about pooping Scott.
I am a shitty fan.
Shitty fan, Corey Scott. Okay, Corey Shitty. I don't even have to ask him how he is. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact information, contact info, subscription links, go to gncast.com/pot. And for other shows from the Galactic Netcast, just go to gncast.com if you're in a state that hasn't legalized marijuana yet, so there's no pot there. Podcast of Terror, rarely spoiler heavy. We're going to ruin everything for you, which tonight we're ruining today, whenever you're listening to this, Manos, The Hands of Fate, which is a piece of shit, and I like to swear. Corey wants me to warn you, in case you have children around, you can cover their ears. Just put earmuffs on. No more swearing.
I'm also pretty sure that even if it's not legal, your state probably has pot in it.
Oh, there's a lot of pot all over the place. But that's a different podcast. We have a special guest. This man, much like the age of this podcast, 40. This is the 40th episode. Podcast of Terror turns 40. Tasteful Dave Nelson is 40. Might be older, I'm not sure, but he's 40 right now. Dave, how are you?
I'm good. I wish I was 40. I'm actually 49 years old.
I'm going to just beep that out.
49.
Dave's 21.
I wish I was 21. I wish I was some age younger than what I actually am.
It doesn't matter because you're tasteful.
Oh,
Dave.
thanks.
If you don't know who Dave is, get your shit together. Dave Nelson is
who I am.
The man with the master plan behind the Galactic Netcast. He's also my co-host on Weird World Weekly, or as the kids on the street like to call it, Dub Dub Dub.
Yes, that all the kids that listen to the show, that's what they call it.
Yeah, so they'll stop me on the street and be like, "Hey, you slanging that trip, Dub?" Never once happened.
By the way, we're recording new episodes this week, so go over to gncast.com/weird and make sure that you subscribe to get those new episodes of Dub Dub Dub.
As a person who's not even associated with that show, it is one of my favorite podcasts of all time.
Oh, thanks, Corey.
Oh, Corey, get the dick out of your mouth.
We're gonna mix it up a little bit starting this week too. Matt's gonna bring some stories to each episode as well.
Yeah, Dave's making me do work now. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably find some sort of recipe. Talk about that.
I was going to say it's going to turn into a cooking show really fast.
Yeah, why not?
No, it'll be things like fingers.
World recipe.
Fuck you, Corey. You're just jealous. Since we're talking about one of the worst movies ever known to man, Dave found this on a list of the worst movies ever. It is, in fact, one of the worst movies ever. Possibly the worst movie I've ever seen. But we found a lot of things that kind of go hand in hand with Manos. No pun intended. But we'll have all of the links in our show notes for the things that we're going to talk about, because there's a bunch of random shit, like the remastered Blu-ray of Manos, The Hands of Fate, which I would like to rename Man, This Movie Sucks Ass. With hands. I never finished the title. I got to the start good.
Do we want to talk? Do we want to discuss why we chose this, or why it's the movie that we watched this week for the Podcast of Terror?
I do, because it's no secret that when we have a guest on, we let them pick the movie for obvious reasons. I really wanted Dave to come on because obviously Dave's the reason we're here. Dave's the reason for the season. So we let him pick this hunk of shit. Dave, please do tell.
Well, okay, so Galactic Netcasts, back in the day, you and I did a podcast called the Sci-Fi Geeks Club, and basically on each episode, you hated the movies that I made you watch.
That's a lot like this show.
They all sucked.
Yeah. Well, no, I disagree, but a lot of them did. So I thought, hey, it's my opportunity again to give you a crappy movie to watch. Sort of like the mad scientists on Mystery Science Theater making Joel and or Mike Nelson watch a crappy movie, which this was one of them.
Yes, there is actually the link to Amazon for the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode for this movie, which um, after this was on MST3K for the hip kids, the movie gained a weird cult status. And there's a spin-off. I don't even know if you could call it a spin-off. A live-action Manos: The Hands of Felt, which Kari so kindly found us. But it's a live-action representation of the movie by felt puppets. So there's that. If you didn't lose enough time of your life watching this piece of shit, you can watch the MST3K version or the felt hand puppet version. If you still didn't get enough, there was a Kickstarter that raised roughly $50,000 for a sequel. I don't know when that's coming out, but
They expected it to come out in May. Now, that's Manos Returns, but there was in 2015 Manos: The Rise of Torgo that came out that has Jackie Neiman, who played the daughter in this, and I believe the mom is in that, or she's going to be in the sequel. So yeah, this thing has kind of gone all around and become that cult movie. Does that mean I'm going too long?
That's Torgo's theme.
Torgo's sweet. Before we started recording, it's on the Wikipedia page, and I told Kari that I'm just going to randomly fuck with him while he's talking and play it.
You should have that on your soundboard, Matt, for each episode.
I need to create a soundboard, but I'm a very lazy person. But I feel like this is reason enough. Just so I don't have to keep opening up this Wikipedia page.
It's the beginning. It's the beginning of your soundboard, right? With that song right there.
I believe I went to soundboard.com, made an account, and looked at it and just went, "Ooh, this is hard," and never went back.
Or just do what I do now. Is I just have a playlist on my player on my computer. I don't even mess with soundboard anymore.
We could turn this into like a shitty morning talk show.
Yeah.
Party horns and yeah, you're real annoying.
I want to save that for the inevitable Manos Hands of Fate porn parody. I just think that absolutely needs to happen. That's all I could think about when I was watching this, and then I realized I was shitting myself at work.
Nanos, the Hands of Bait, as in master bait.
The hands that bait.
Yeah, I mean you can't ignore the hand job reference in both Manos and Hands of. It's just it's so obviously there. But I do want to mention that in Manos: The Rise of Torgo, the 2015 film, we have listings for these characters: Baby Torgo, Toddler Torgo,
Yes.
Tween Torgo,
Yes.
and then full-on Torgo.
Hey, I found it. There's a website, Manos: The Rise of Torgo, and there's just you can just download it.
And that has to be a follow-up when we have Dave back.
Nope.
I want a T-shirt with Torgo on it in some fashion.
I would watch the sequel to this, and then eventually the end of the trilogy, because every good movie ends in a trilogy. Only for you, Dave, and only because of this. I'm gonna play the shit out of that so everyone gets real annoyed with it.
There was like 2 songs in this movie, and that was it. 2 pieces of music. That, and then the other like light jazz thing that they kept on playing.
Random piano music.
Yeah.
There's
It was almost like watching a Peanuts cartoon.
a penis cartoon.
Peanuts.
Oh, Peanuts. I thought you said penis. Sorry.
Charlie Brown.
Get your hand off of my penis. Do, 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 do.
That's not your penis. That's mine. Oh, sorry. This is where we really get off the rails quick.
Yeah.
What other weird random facts about this movie do we have?
Well,
there's a bunch. There's the video game, which Corey and I may purchase, which means I may purchase it when it gets real cheap on a Steam sale. But it's
how much cheaper can it get? It's $3 right now for Steam.
on March 21st, it was $1.19.
Oh well, that is the savings. It's also available for iOS for 99 cents. It is not, unfortunately, currently available in the Play Store from Google. I guess it was at some point, and Google must have taken it out of there because they had good taste.
The iOS version looks a little different than the Steam one, so we'll see.
Yeah.
It
has that great classic original Nintendo look to it, but I can't say that the gameplay makes a whole lot of sense compared to the movie. In some cases, it's completely like it, and then there's random flying bits in there, like he's in a plane. I don't know exactly why, but some of the stills are exactly out of there. Anytime you see Torgo, all of his dialogue is shaky. It's like he's basically vibrating through the whole thing. Again, porn parody Torgo.
Yes. Well, it's very apparent that all of the voices are overdubbed, which we discussed the first time through this, but there's a point where the cop and what's his nuts are talking, and you can't tell who's who. Like, I was not looking at the screen while they were talking, and I had a hard time following the conversation.
Well,
Yeah,
it was the same guy doing a lot of the voices, right? That there was the same guy doing the voice of the cop as was the main dude, the father/husband.
Yeah, and I'm convinced that by the end of the movie, the cop was also doing the voice for the daughter.
Yeah, Jackie Neiman, who played the daughter, was very upset. She was like 7 years old when this came out and when they watched it in the local theater in Texas, where it was all filmed, and she was crying through the whole thing because she didn't hear her own voice coming out of her mouth during the movie. She was pretty put off by it, but not so put off that she doesn't still come back for sequels and prequels.
Well, that's why she wanted to do it. She finally wanted to hear her real voice in a movie.
And a talkie? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and talk about shitty parents. The very beginning of that film, the little girl's in the back seat, no seatbelt, no car seat, and then she's complaining that she's cold, and they won't put the top up, and they just say, "Hey, come up front and snuggle with us."
Well, nobody had seatbelts on in the 60s, Dave. It was unheard of.
Yeah, that's true.
Here's a fun fact for you. When the cop pulls over the family for the busted taillight, he begins writing a ticket without even asking to see a license.
Yeah. Yeah, and just that whole scene randomly of the cop stops them, says that their taillight is out. Everything having to do with the cop has no payoff. At some point, some cops do show up in the area where the main guy has fired shots, and they're like, "Oh, I think we hear gunshots." And they walk about a foot away from their car, look in the dark and say, "Well, nope, fuck it, turn around, go back."
Yeah, that town had the worst cops ever. They didn't do shit.
Every time the cop shows up and he sees the couple making out in their car, he's like, "I don't know what you're doing, but don't do it somewhere else."
And they keep on coming back to the same spot, too.
They're just sitting there making out for like 3 days straight. Like, all this stuff is going on, and they're just sitting in the car smooching.
Well, it's the only place that man can achieve an erection.
I don't blame him because the view is spectacular.
It's a very specific location-based erection.
Corey, didn't you have a piece of trivia about the woman that was the girl that he was making out with?
Yeah, Joyce Mueller was one of the original actresses that was hired for the film, and instead of not having her in the film, she had broken her foot. And so the writer/director, Harold P. Warren, who's also the star of the movie, he's like, "Well, we'll just put her in a car and we'll have her make out with this guy so she can still be in it," because he wanted to have attractive women in this, and he didn't want to have to go and try to find other actresses. So that was it. It was just, "Well, we'll just put you in this car and you'll kiss this dude for a while." And they just kept going back to that. And again, it has no bearing on the rest of the story. When the family drives past them at one point, they stop for a second, they look up and go, "Where are they going? There's nothing out there." "Oh, well, put your face in my lap." Just kept going.
Sorry.
Now it's going to be constantly in my head anytime I get a boner.
I'm going to sing it tonight when I go to bed. I'm going to try and swoon my wife. Just go, burp, 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 and then she'll punch me in the eye.
She's going to tell you to go have some alone time with your Manos.
Oh, just like every other night, going to sleep unfulfilled.
I don't know whether I think that music is creepy or funny, like goofy.
I bet at the time it was really creepy. If you were to recreate it with like new technology and maybe give it a little ambiance noise, I bet it could be pretty creepy right now.
Well, it's just a note or a yeah, maybe a note, an octave away from something from like Friday the 13th.
That's true. I bet you could just play it in a minor key and it would make it creepy
And
too.
slow it down a little bit.
Yeah. If you listen to this podcast and you're a sound engineer, do it to it, please.
Torgo Slow Jam.
Torgo's Slow Jam. Like I said, there's a bunch of techno remixes on YouTube, so I'm sure there's something out there that might be a little better sounding.
Is it Torgo?
You know
Yes. It's Ogrot backwards. So Torgo, sadly, played by John Reynolds, actually the actor wound up committing suicide about a month before the release of the film. So this is his only movie that he was ever in.
Crap.
And he didn't even get to see it hit the big screen. Now, I don't know if it was because of the massive erection that he must have gotten in front of the cast when the wives of the master basically massaged him to death, or roughly close to it, and he just got all embarrassed and realized that was as good as life was ever going to get. But yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the violence in this film, because it was like whenever they something like Torgo, you said, for example, when he was being killed, basically explain how their method of killing him was. It's just basically tickling him to death, or how did you put it before?
Yeah, it was basically they're above him. It's two of the master's wives. He's laying on this slab, and they're kind of like reaching out and tapping him a little bit, and then pushing on his chest, but in no way any kind of violence. Like the master does later on wind up killing his first wife, and he's just slapping her. And it doesn't look like truly violent slaps, but they do show blood and stuff. So eventually it gets a little bit more heated. But the violence in this is so minuscule, and this was made to be a horror movie. This was the bet that Warren had, is he told his friend, oh yeah, you can make a horror movie really easy, and I can do that, no problem. So he was trying to make a horror film. He just did everything absent from making it into an actual horror film.
I just found that there is a 30-minute documentary that came out in 2004 called Hotel Torgo. More than 30 years later, a group of Canadian filmmakers interview Bernie, the last surviving crew member of Manos, to answer one question: why?
The Hotel Torgo, you can check it anytime you like, but you can leave because it'll take him forever to bring your fucking luggage out to your car.
Jesus.
No, there's that moment where like they've freaked out enough. They've taken to the point of we've lost our daughter, our dog is dead. We've seen women and this dude all laying around in this sleep-like trance in the other room. Let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah, I'm going to go have words with Torgo and have him bring my luggage out to the car. We're not just going to leave. You know, you've got to get the guy, because I can't fucking bring my own luggage to my goddamn car. I'm white. It's 1966.
Wow. I was just going to make a comment about how the family's life had turned into a country song, and you turned it into a racial issue.
It was 1966. It was automatically a racial issue.
Corey wins that round. So, Dave, are you happy with the decision of making us watch this piece of shit?
I think I'm happy because of the conversation, because I realized a long time ago the worse a movie is, the better the conversation is about the movie. For the most part, and I think we had some really good conversation about this film.
Well, that's a valid point. I will agree with you there. I learned more things about Man Below the Hand of Fate just by reading to try and figure out why it was such a piece of shit. And ultimately, someone's going to get my money because they made a video game out of it.
Yeah, nobody who was in the film made any money though, including the lead actress got paid with a bicycle, and the only other cast member to get any kind of compensation was the dog, who got paid in dog food.
Oh, that's why Torgo killed himself.
It's very possible.
I kind of want to watch the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of it now, because I never did. I've never seen it.
Well, we have a link for you, Dave, where you can purchase it and also get Santa Claus versus the Martians.
And speaking of that, that's the movie that we watched for the sci-fi film school with Matt long time.
I actually remember that movie. It was not bad. It was better than Plan 9 from Outer Space or whatever.
Yeah, it was better than this film. A long stretch.
Yeah, well, I also like Santa's sleigh.
Yeah, I was going to say Matt's nipples get hard anytime you mention Santa, so it seems likely that he would enjoy that one.
Because he has a big sack full of presents for me.
You like the sack.
I do. Yeah, so Torgo was a satyr?
Yeah, Torgo was supposed to be playing a satyr in this, which is the goat-like mythological creature, half man, half goat. They made a prosthetic for him to wear. Unfortunately, the actor put it on backwards. He put it on the front instead of on the back. Nobody thought to correct this, so as he's walking around, yeah, he looks like his knees are about 4 inches from his thigh, or from his stomach, actually. But it makes no sense into the fact that he was supposed to be playing a satyr. He was also supposed to be wearing some sort of hooves, and he's obviously wearing boots.
Well, we all know that the production value on this movie was incredibly high. So I'm sure there's a reason that there was... I can't even lie anymore. This movie was fucking horrible.
I think the biggest production cost might have been the Master's badass cloak with the giant red hands on it.
Yes.
I totally want to wear that all the time.
You know what? That would win. If you were to go to some kind of convention and you wore that, you would win. That would be... You would win some kind of contest.
Yeah.
I wonder. I mean, I know that there's a cult following to this, but I wonder if enough people that go to comic book conventions or any sort of con would know it.
Oh, everybody would know it. It would be an instant hit.
Do me a favor, just do a quick Google search, like image search. Put in like Manos, the Hands of Fate cosplay, and I bet you $5 something will come up. Either Torgo or the Master.
Ooh,
And remember, someone made a play out of this with puppets.
that's true. Yeah, there's... Holy shit. There's no shortage of people who have made this cloak with big hands. Oh!
Well, it's the epitome of high fashion.
So, someone made a Torgo meme, I guess you remember the pictures, and it says like, this one says professionalism, and it has like a saying underneath it. It just says, "Boss is a jerk, got goat legs, on LSD, doesn't matter, you're an adult, you've got responsibilities. If Torgo can put a blazer on and go to work, so can you."
All right, just to prove my own point, because of the rule that if you mention something, any kind of weird thing, there's automatically going to be porn of it on the internet. I did do a look for Manos, the Hands of Fate porn. I can't find an actual porn, but there is a video on YouTube that is Manos, the Hands of Fate, Torgo's porn scene, and it's just the scene of him reaching out to the wife, like, the Master will want you as his wife, but I want you as mine, and the 2-minute reach scene of him going to touch her shoulder or her hair and not being able to decide, and it just takes forever, and she just stands there waiting for it to finally happen, and then she suddenly goes, "If you ever do that again, I'll have you killed." Which is, I go from like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Why is this taking so long? Is it going to be all day? Are you going to take like 9 months to get here? And then when it finally happens, it's like, oh, I can't believe you did that.
Also, did you guys notice that they recycled a lot of scenes?
Mm-mm.
Like they would take the same shot and use it over and over again. Not necessarily from one part of the movie to the next, but like in a scene. Like a shot of an actor doing something, they would repeat it. Like I think the one I remember is the first wife when she was like tied up on that post or whatever. She kept on doing the same like facial movements or head movements and facial expression.
They also repeated a lot of the same lines. Like the dad was saying, "She's my daughter, so she's going to be okay."
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, she's my daughter. She's going to be okay.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
The
I just,
director's like, God damn it, that's a typo.
I just thought he really wanted to reassure everybody that it's his daughter and she'd be okay.
Yeah. Anybody else disturbed by the fact that at the end of the movie, Manos has added not only Margaret to his wives, but Debbie's tied up to a pillar and wearing the same clothing as the wives as well?
It's 1966. If you wanted a woman to be your property, you just tied her up to a post.
That's true.
I'm looking really hard for
That's
a
how we
map.
got livestock.
That's Ooh, coasters. Manos Hands of Fate coasters.
So going back to the classic podcast of terror ruling, we don't get to see any nudity in this. Thank you for not showing us Torgo or the Master naked, but there was at least a big old cat fight between all of the Master's wives.
And
no
again,
idea why.
And again, not quite violent, really. They were just basically tickling, not tickling, but it was just a little bit more severe than tickling, and that's about it.
That is not a complaint.
Tickle fights.
Yeah.
Corey and I like to have tickle fights.
I guess if you're the guy who's making this movie on a bet and you're spending your $19,000, you include a tickle fight between a lot of women.
But why? I guess I don't understand how you get to a tickle fight in your movie. But I guess if you were, Corey, if you were to dare me to make a movie and you were like, here's $19,000 to do it, which now is $136,000, 2016 monies, I'd do it. I'd wait your $136,000 to make a shitty movie.
90-minute tickle fight. With
they
that
ever
Torgo
explain-
music playing in the background.
Did they ever explain why that fight broke out?
It was a war between the sister wives. The first wife believed that it was okay to kill the man, but not to kill the little girl. And she kept saying it over and over again. Kill the man, not the little girl. Kill the man, not the little girl. They're like, no, we're going to kill them all. No. Kill the man, not the little girl. And then they picked sides, and fucking Tony was like, you were my friend too. And Steve's like, God damn it, Bucky's my pal. And I don't know what happened after that. I kind of blanked out with Giant Man.
I was this close to making that same reference. The
God.
American Civil War reference.
You guys are having too much fun talking about this movie.
It's a damn good movie.
It's fun to talk about really bad movies.
No, it's true. I am seriously going to watch Manos Returns at some point before I die.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right after this, probably.
I'm curious how long it is.
I do really want the puppet show.
Hands of Felt?
Yeah, I can't be more excited for anything than the puppet show, unless it was a musical. If it was a musical too, I'd be done.
Maybe it is a musical.
That was your cue to play the Torgo music.
Oh,
No, this is the kind of movie that you could totally.
Sorry, I was late on it, but I still played it. Sorry, Dave. You were saying?
No, I was saying that this movie is ripe for a musical, like, because there's not a whole lot there to begin with, so you could fill the time with songs.
I mean, this movie is the perfect example of what Mystery Science Theater was built around, because there's so much dead space that actually, when you watch them doing the episode, there's a lot of times where they're like filling in because nothing has happened yet. There's like a 9-minute drive through the country before anything really starts, so they have nothing to really put down. And they're just like, Manos, Hands of Fate, la 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 la. But it is a fun one to rip apart. I would like to see this on the big screen and see somebody do to it what they do to Rocky Horror.
Or make it a really high-budget action film.
I bet you it's only a matter of time. It'll happen.
Sylvester Stallone as Torgo.
I was gonna say who would play Torgo in the remake?
I like Stallone. They're my wives. I don't know how Sylvester Stallone sounds, so don't expect a good impersonation out of him.
Danny Trejo as the Master.
Absolutely, he can pull out that mustache.
Or that's true. Who would be Torgo? Bradley Cooper. Some like just douchebag. Make him Torgo.
It would have to be somebody really short because Torgo was goddamn short. He was half the size of anybody else, even the kid. He was about the same size as the kid.
And James Earl Jones is the voice of Debbie.
James Earl Jones is the voice of Debbie, but Debbie's really played by Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Just an adult actor that's like they make him look like a little girl, like in some weird
or the
CG thing.
The Rock could be the daughter.
The Rock could be the daughter.
The Rock
I was gonna say if you want to make him look like a little girl, then you just get Michael Cera, and then you don't even have to dress him up.
That's true too. That might be a better one.
His voice is perfect for her, actually.
That's true.
And I love Michael Cera. Don't get me wrong, but Michael Cera's the little girl in this would be great.
He has his place in time. He could be Debbie. There you go, Michael Cera. If you're watching, you could be Debbie.
Yeah, I don't expect any kind of hate mail at all, like when we talked about D. Snyder. So,
whatever happened to that person?
Is that the person that wanted to come on that you guys invited on the show?
That Corey sweet talked into coming on the show and then never responded to the email. Yeah. We're not focusing on that little situation. My feelings
aren't as bitter as the rest of us. Hey, so guys, you want to give this thing a ranking, or do you think we just go 0 all the way down the list?
How do you guys do the rankings? Do you have a system?
0 to 5, rewatchability, story, and scariness.
Yeah, 0, 0, 0.
Yeah, I'm going straight zeros as well.
Yeah, but can you fairly give it a 0 if you're looking forward to seeing the sequel?
I'm not rewatching this one. I want to see the car accident that follows.
Although if you made it into a drinking game, that I would rewatch it.
Ooh.
You just said the magic word.
I think I know what I'm going to be doing.
Everybody scream like Pee Wee Herman. Also, it's rewatchable in the fact that you want to watch the MST3K version. I want to watch the puppet version. If there's a musical version, we would all watch that. If there's a porn version, I will own that. Maybe even write it. But at this point in time, I'm going to give it a rewatchability of at least 1. Just because it's so awful, yet I want to force it on others, and I want to be there to watch them watch it. Dave has passed his torture porn theory on to me, and I will pay it forward.
I found a drinking game, but it's not quite complete. Still searching.
I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a drinking game for this. Curious to see what Dave comes up with.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be a dead end.
Son of a bitch.
I'm also going to give story 0, but scariness 1 because of Torgo's pants.
Jesus.
He looked like he had a permanent erection, or did you already mention that?
Sideways erection.
Sideways, yeah.
He had elephantitis of the nuts.
Whoa. Corey is not a man that's ever feared an erection either.
Just a fear of not having one.
They make pills for that, little buddy. It's all right.
In a pinch.
We'll get through this.
Speaking of getting through this, you can get through to us by contacting us at leaving us a voicemail at 805-328-3966, or you can email us at pot@gncast.com, or leave us a message on the website. Call and let us know not necessarily what you think of Manos, Hands of Fate. Tell us what you think is the worst movie ever made, especially the worst horror movie ever made. If you think it's this one, let us know about this one. If you have another favorite piece of shit that you want to share, let us know. Maybe we'll review it for you.
Corey, what's the voicemail number again?
805-328-3966.
805-328-3966.
Are you sure? I thought it was 805-328-3966.
I thought it was 6693-823-508.
I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about podcasting recently. I don't know why, but they say that you're supposed to reinforce the contact all the time.
And the contact is Torgo's song. We've reinforced that to the point where it's coming out of us
You know what? That might help. People are going to walk around and be like, God, that damn song stuck in my head because of that podcast of terror. I better email them.
I wonder
Yeah.
if we can turn it into a jingle, like when you sing the song for a commercial, and it's the phone number or the address for some place that you can go and get diamonds on the cheap. If we can
Torgo's
do
coming. Torgo's coming. Torgo's coming.
80532839666. Yep.
There you go.
It's like a satanic chant.
Yes.com. Yep.
And if this hasn't convinced you that you should follow us on Twitter and Instagram, then I don't even know why I'm telling you that it's at Podcast of Terror. And you can also subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or your favorite podcatchers. Leave us feedback. Give us, just tell us that you're there, man. We just want to know that someone else is dealing with this shit with us. I got a therapist that I need to pay, and he thinks I hear voices, and I tell him no, that's just the fans.
My drinking is through the roof watching these movies. You laugh like I'm joking. This is true.
No, your roof leaks. I know that. So, I mean, it works out. All subscription options and links can be found under the subscribe tab at gncast.com. And you can join our Facebook page. Yeah, I said that.
gncasts.com.
Gotta say it a couple times. 3 times is a charm. gncast.com.
gncast.com. Is it going to be one of those things we say enough that it loses meaning? gncast.com.
No, you gotta say it in the Torgo suite. gncast.com is where you can go see all our stuff.
Say it like Torgo. gncast.com.
The master doesn't like it if you go to gncast.com.
But I'm going to make you my website.
Then take 2 minutes to click the button to load the page.
We have never had such a shit show at the end of this. This is beautiful.
This is great.
I can't even steer this bus. Dave, I guess you could tell people where to find you.
Hey, guess what? gncasts.com.
That's true. We're all kind of in the same boat together. Dave, what social networks do you use? Do you want people to contact you at?
No, seriously, I want to congratulate you guys for how many? What episode is this? Number
40.
40, right?
Over the hill. Now the bus is speeding.
You guys now have more subscribers or more downloads than the Sci-Fi Geeks Club.
So you guys are getting like 3 or 4?
Yeah. And I've been doing that show for goddamn what? Over 2 years now, and you guys have surpassed us in less than half that time.
Don't undersell the value of the F word.
Yeah. Maybe it's like the whole Deadpool thing. We need to dirty it up a little bit.
You just need a couple more fucks in your life.
Yeah.
You know, we lucked out by getting onto a collective of podcasts that are already. Words are escaping me right now. All I can think of.
The foundation was there, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I mean, it was already, it was there. It was laid for us, so we just kind of hopped on and we rode that bus right into the ground.
Well, you guys
There was one set of footprints. That's where your podcast network carried us.
That's true. So we thank you.
But I do want to direct people to the Sci-Fi Geeks Club because we need more downloads. gncast.com/geeks, where we talk about everything sci-fi. In the week's news, we've got a recommendation segment, we've got a big question of the week, and we've got awesome guests.
Yeah, once in a while, Corey and I will be on it, depending on our schedules. I used to be on that one a lot more, and then Dave's like, do horror, and we're going to watch Manos, The Hands of Fate on your 40th episode, but you don't know that yet because I'm from the future.
Sci-fi
twist. I'm really tired. So I guess we could probably wrap this shit show up.
Yeah, you can follow Matt at Matt the Lifeguard on Twitter, and I'm at Donuts Comics. Just so we can finish this up. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. But fuck you for suggesting this movie, and good swift kick in the nuts to you, sir.
And you're fucking welcome.
Wow. Fuck both you guys. Fuckers. Alright, I paused the audio. Dave, you don't have to stick around if you don't want to. I'm going to record the next week clip.
Okay.
More than welcome if you want to, but
I'm super tired. I had to work today and did a bunch of other shit, so I'm gonna drop off.
Yeah, no problem.
But
Thank you again.
thanks for having me on.
Honestly, thank you very
We'll,
much, Dave.
We'll
You're
do this
welcome.
again in like 2 months, eight-ish episodes. You want to come back?
Sure.
Cool. Think of another one, or
Okay.
yeah, just think of another one.
You
Yeah.
might have to submit on our site because we're getting booked out pretty far now.
Whoa.
Have your people contact our people.
Aren't you fancy and shit?
We are both those things, yes.
Not really. We just lucked out and stacked a bunch of people up right next to each other, and
Just the way you like it.
Yeah, much like my Manos porn parody.
wow, you guys are just really getting out of control right
How
now.
about that? I'll see you Wednesday.
All right, take care, buddy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, Corey.
Bye, Dad.
It's weird when you say it.
Well, it's not. Oh, let's say it. I didn't know if you stuck around or not. Okay. Close this. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, man.
You ready to rumble?
But what?
Next week on the podcast of terror.
Next week we are joined by
Carrie Sims.
Gary Sims of Blazing Caribou podcast Super Emporium. Wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man Emporium starring CarrieSims.com. Don't fucking ask. We're going to be talking Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Should be a good one. They have a lot of shit going on at Blazing Caribou. I don't know when that episode or this episode airs. I don't know if the episode I did of Trivia Geeks will be out yet.
I expect that it will be. They can at least listen to one where you beat my ass before as a warm up.
That's true. I don't want to give the episode away, but Kari and I, another strong showing. So, Trivia Champions of 2016 of the world coming your way. So, thank you very much for listening to another episode of the podcast, Terry, and we will talk to you guys next week.
Stay scary, everybody.
Awesome.